right. Welcome to the 290 Moe podcast. I appreciate your time. If you could, introduce yourself for my viewers and listeners.
I'm Lilian. I'm an artist, singer, songwriter, dancer, model, accountant.
Exercise guru.
Fitness guru. Did I miss anything? I said model, right?
Yeah, you do that. We got that. Okay, so let's start from the top before we get into everything you got going on right now. So, if you don't mind me asking, where did Lilian grow up?
I grew up mainly in Aurora, Illinois, which is where I still live. But I was born in Minnesota, but I was a little military brat, so we were on the road a little bit. Lived in a few other states, lived in Puerto Rico. My sister was born there and whatnot, so a little bit of taste of everywhere, you know.
Okay. What was your favorite place to live?
Okay, I was a kid. I moved here when I was
okay. Say less. It's home then.
Right, Illinois is home for sure.
All right, for sure.
Lived in Florida for 2 years when I was like
No,
18,
Illinois
19.
home. No, just playing.
Illinois
Okay. Is Florida I'm not saying this by any means, but I've heard that the people in Florida are a little crazy. Is that any truth to that?
I only lived in Florida for like a year and a half.
Okay.
And it was right when the pandemic started. So I got to see all the pandemic, whatever, backlash or whatever. I don't know. I just don't like the people. I think the Midwest we're all just more well-rounded people. Like, we understand life more. I feel like we've experienced more. Like, I know people who have never seen snow. Like, to me, that's crazy. Not because of the actual, like, not seeing it, but, like, you never had a snow day. You never had to shovel your driveway.
Right.
You never had to warm your car up in the morning and scrape ice off.
Never
like,
got
just
stuck
stuff
in the
like
snow
that.
on the way
Like,
home.
it builds character.
Right, for sure.
But
Okay. So
Midwest.
So how was your childhood? Did you always have what you was doing now in your mind, or did you was like doctor, lawyer? What was that like?
So I had a great childhood, actually, but
That's great.
I always wanted to be a teacher. Like, that was it from as long as I had little stuffed animals playing like fake school. Like, that was just always it. Literally until high school. And my senior year, I actually was an intern at a elementary school, my own elementary school. And then something just like flipped. And I was like, I learned it was a lot more like behavioral rather than teaching, especially at elementary level. Like, maybe high school's different.
And
I was just like, I feel like my purpose is elsewhere. Not that I love kids, I have siblings. Like, it's not that. It's just, it wasn't my calling. Like, I didn't feel fulfilled from it, if that makes sense.
So what was it that caused you to it in the first place? Was your mom a teacher or
no? Like,
or
I
you just felt
I think
like,
I'm naturally a want to help others type of person. I do enjoy, like, when you see something click for someone, it is exciting, like knowing you helped them and whatnot. I don't know. I really don't know what made me want to be it. I don't know. I do know, actually. I had a lot of great teachers. That's what I'm forgetting to mention.
That's what I'm
right.
I thought that.
My elementary school was great. Yeah.
Okay.
Teachers.
Okay. So we get through high school. You went back to your old elementary school. You was like, this ain't for me.
Mm-hmm.
What was for you after that? What followed? What followed?
See, after high school was a whirlwind because my life just took like major turns, but
right turns or left turns?
Just scribbles.
Okay. Figure eights.
Right. But I went to college. I had an older sister. She went to college. Like, that's just what our high school preached. Like, you go to college. So I was originally going to go to University of Illinois in Champaign. And then, like, I had my schedule. I had my roommate. And, like, I went to orientation. And a week later, I was like, I can't go here. Like, I literally just backed out. Everything was set in stone. And I just backed out. I was
whoa. You didn't what happened?
I know.
What happened?
To be fair, I still did get my education. Just not from there. But I don't know. I think money was a huge thing. Like, that scared me. It was a big investment. Probably one of the biggest ones people make at our age and day and time.
For sure.
But whatever. So I ended up going to community college first. And someone I knew from high school was like, email this counselor guy. He's going to help you get your associates in a year. And I was like, cool, I hate school anyway. Like, let's just get it over with.
I hated this. I knew after high school I wasn't doing no more school. I didn't even play like that. I'm sorry.
It's a lot of work, you know, and it's draining. It's draining. So, yeah, I got my associates done in a year. I had 60 credits in a year. It was hell. I had like 3-hour classes for 8 weeks long, and then it would rotate to like the next section or whatever. Summer classes and whatever. So this is only one time period. So then after that summer after I got my associates, I somehow, whole time I was working, had a job. I always had a job, 2 jobs. Don't.
I got time for one job.
It was a lot. It was, but you know, I was at community college. I didn't really have that many friends and whatnot. Whatever. Graduated there, got a job as a saleswoman at a car dealership. Did that for 3 months. Literally made the most money I ever touched. Enjoyed it. Like that's one thing I learned about like why I didn't like teaching either is like I don't like routine. Like I need a different something different every day, and I think that's what our education system lacks is every day same classes, same order, and that's not how I think people are meant to learn. But whatever. So I was 3 months there, and then it was kind of like, okay, like, do I finish getting my degree? Like, you're halfway there, you might as well finish. Or do I, you know, stay working? I'm not gonna lie, the schedule was horrendous. It was 50-hour weeks, only Sundays and Tuesdays off. I couldn't travel. The days I had off, I was so exhausted from working. So
this guy right here.
Yep, it's a lot. So I just ended up saying, you know what? It was great while it happened, but it's time to move to the next thing. So I ended up continuing my education, and I went to a Florida school, switched up my environment, moved away for the first time from my family, tried a new state by myself, and got my degree there. Then all the pandemic happened, and you guys know the rest, and here we are.
Okay. I mean, this is
the condensed version.
A lot happened between the rest, and here we are. Okay, so
2 to 3 years.
So I'm gonna try to pick through it for the people who listening and watching it. So, let's say okay. So after the saleswoman thing, I was waiting for you to say you didn't like it. You know what I'm saying? I was surprised you said that. So what was your favorite part about selling cars, if you don't mind me asking?
Honestly,
was it the driving the new cars?
No, it was meeting people. So obviously, you know, people come in for test drives and whatever. You're meeting everyone from age 16 with their parents getting their first car to I sold like one to like an 80-year-old, and they were like, not gonna lie, this is my last car. And I was like, okay, like, so you just met a lot of different people, and that was my favorite part. Like, you just have to find out what someone likes and needs and not oversell them on something they don't have the money for or want. And it was fun. Like, it was like a little game kind of like.
Car sales people really think like that?
I did. I was different though. Okay. And that's why I was successful. They even told me the reason I was successful was because I had a completely different approach. I wasn't focused on the money, even though it was great. If you think about it, because there's other dealerships that are competitors too. As long as you're leaving a mark in their head, they're most likely going to come back, reach out to you if they don't buy it on the spot, or like, oh, I need to think about it, and then go to 3 other shops. Well, we liked her. And a lot of people actually did tell me, like, I remember like one day I was out the office because it was like my day off, and they were like, where's Lily? Like, we liked the young girl that was ambitious. And I was like, that's nice. Like, and the other salesman like couldn't steal my client basically. But no, I sold like one family a Tahoe, because we sold new and used cars. I worked at Volkswagen, and like one lady was like so happy with her purchase. She like painted me mini canvases with like a thank you letter. Like, it was just so sweet. So it was a heartfelt job. You got to meet a lot of cool people. So that was my favorite part. Granted, I knew nothing about cars starting, but now I do. So
okay, learned a little something as well. Okay, so from the beginning up to that point, what role was music playing in your life?
Music. I don't know. I always grew up listening to music. I think everyone did, right?
For sure.
In the car, at the house, we had a CD player. My sister had an iPod Touch. Like, it goes way back, you know. I personally, I would say like the first real memory I have of it was like fifth grade choir club or whatever. I forgot what it was called exactly. Obviously we took music class when it was like forced upon us.
Of course.
But no, like the first core memory I have is I did play flute in 6th and 7th. Did I play it in 8th grade? Middle school. I played it in middle school. And I'm actually glad. Like my mom did want all of us to play an instrument. Both my sisters played piano. One of them plays oboe, one plays clarinet. Like I don't know, like I'm mad I didn't learn piano because that would have been very helpful. We have one.
I say that every day.
We have one, and
I'll be
still
trying
haven't
to
learned.
make beats.
I want to learn to play guitar, but that's a whole nother beast.
Yeah, I probably
a whole nother. Like people say that takes years to learn.
I
but
bet. So that means it's gonna take me 100 years.
Right, me too, because I have no attention span. But yeah, that would probably be like my main core memory was band in middle school. But even that wasn't like the vocal side of it. I would say the first time I had like, this isn't even music, but my first like memory of like realizing how powerful words were was actually junior year of high school. My English class had like a field trip in the city, and it was for a poetry slam, and it was competing high schools. I don't think there was a prize. I can't remember, but it was just interesting.
Everybody wins in high school.
Right, everybody. It was a bunch of young high schoolers like giving their, I call it performances, because it was a show. Like some people had like stomping routines to it. Other people had like more expressive like dance, like slow lyrical like movements to their poetry. Other people just stood there monotone but with a purpose to get their point across. Like there was just so many ways, and poetry was like, that was like the first time I realized like, okay, well music is poetry. Hey, I like writing, like let's, you know, kind of like see. That was probably like my first like music writing experience. I did not compete, but I watched and definitely was like, oh wow, like this is powerful. And like some of them hit, like they were deep stories. Like I remember one was like, I don't even know, it was like 5 years ago, but it still impacts me. So, you know, yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
Okay. So you said you always loved writing. What type of form of writing was that? Was it always poetry, or was you doing the school newspaper? What did that look like?
You have great questions, but you know what?
I love
See,
that.
now that you say that,
we live for that response.
I know
Sorry
you do,
to
because guess
cut you
what? The
off.
questions do go a long way. It feeds the conversation. So I do appreciate good questions. And when it feels like you're, you know, we talked about not wanting to be like scripted, but prepared, still
for sure.
knowing like
For
what
sure.
you want to get across. But now that you asked that question, you just reminded me, even in elementary, like I remember I was in this, it was called like Hey classes, like after school programs. And I was in like the press writing one. And like you just pulled that out of my memory because I forgot I was even in that.
Oh,
so
man, that's awesome.
yeah, but writing, where did that first happen? I would say the form it first happened in was, I always liked writing about other people. So like whatever, when my coach retired, I loved, you know, writing out not an essay, but like paragraphs about her and her career and like how much she impacted me. For people's birthdays, like I always loved, you know, expressing how much you care about someone, or, you know, just the influence they had on you. I don't like writing about myself, but that's another story. Music wise though, even now, like when I do write, because I do write all my own songs, I pull inspiration from, so like let's say one song, like one lyric can be about distance, let's say, but like it could be about my grandma, but then like the rest of the song could be about like a lover. Like I try to mix, people don't know that because it all makes sense, and you could be like, oh, she's talking about the boy the whole time, when the whole time like this verse is about my family, this verse is about like myself. So like you kind of just have to intertwine it. I'm getting off topic, but writing, it's creative, you know, you just can go any way. I know like some people are like, oh, they don't rap about what they actually do in life, but that's the whole point. Like creative writing, we had topics like that where, you know, you're supposed to free the mind and make up a story, you
They
know.
don't say
and
that about movie creators. Like, why don't they just make movies
what is a movie
about
script?
Why don't they just make movies about what they do
nonfic-
every day?
Right, nonfiction, fiction, it's just endless. That's the cool part. But no, for the most part, actually, I think all my lyrics have meaning and happened in my life. So But right now I feel like I'm still surface level. I haven't fully opened up in my lyrics, but you hear enough to know, you know, some of the stuff I've done or did or do.
Okay, for sure. And before we jump into the music a little bit more,
Right.
you did throw in there your coach. So what was you on playing sports?
Yeah. So that was I cheered since 7th grade to junior year of college, but remember that whole community college thing, so we skipped the year. But yeah, since 7th grade I cheered for basketball and football and also did competitive. I honestly loved it. Like I started as a flyer. I don't even know if people know these words, but then I was the base. I definitely don't. Right, the flyer's the person.
When I think of cheer, I think of
no. Okay, so the flyer's the person in the air.
Oh, so the jumping up and
no, like holding person in the air. I used to be that. That was before I hit my growth spurt. Okay. Then in high school, I was the base, which is the person holding the person up. But something about that, like it's so thrilling being able to like throw and catch. So I have to show you some videos after this.
I bet it is.
Look up some all-star cheer videos. I bet it is
thrilling to throw somebody 15 feet there.
It is. Maybe not 15, but maybe. I don't know. I'm not good at
shit. You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, other than that, I did track since 8th grade to senior year of high school. So, you know, kind of two different sports, but also shaped me completely different. Definitely is the reason for my physique. And just a huge part of my personality and characteristics too is just my discipline, my drive, I noticed that it sprouted with sports.
For sure.
They do.
For sure.
Discipline's something everyone needs, to be honest. And if you're not disciplined, start.
If you ain't disciplined, you're gonna be under a bridge somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, so. I'm trying to segue into the music because you got a lot going on. So I don't want to even segue to the music, and it's like 4 things that happen before the music.
No, and I appreciate the timeline.
Before we get to the music, is there any major events that led up to you taking music seriously?
Any major events?
Or matter of fact,
a lot.
Okay, go ahead.
No, matter of fact, what?
I was gonna ask like a compound question to try to lead you better, but you started to explain it a little more. So was it like maybe it was a specific event that you was like, man, I'm finna start doing music seriously? Like you was like, I'm not really feeling what's going on right now. Let's do that. You know what I'm saying? But don't let me lead you.
Those are honestly 2 different questions. Don't let me, but
call me out. Mm-hmm. See, that's that college education, man.
Yeah. But I would say the event that, you know, made me realize I could do music was going to so many concerts. I've literally gone to over 50 shows, been to music festivals, different genres too. Riot Fest in Chicago, Spring Awakening in Chicago, Lollapalooza in Chicago, Rolling Loud in
Riot Fest.
Riot's like rock.
Is that where the mosh pit's at?
Riot's like rock music.
That's not where I want a free ticket. Are?
Mosh pits are everywhere, to be honest. Every genre.
I never.
Rap Uzi. You never heard about like Pitbull Cardi's mosh pits?
I love Uzi, but I don't see him or nothing. Right. You know what I'm saying?
No. I don't. But no, I would say that is like the events that kind of made me realize like if they're doing it, like why can't I? Like I'm already spending all this money on shows. Why don't I try to get my own? Or why? Like it just seems so attainable. And when you already love it, like I said, I've been listening to music my whole life and I'm a very empathetic person and connect with music. So it's like, I want people to feel the way I feel about this person's music, you know, like, oh, this person's their biggest fan. Like, you know, it is a cool feeling. If a whole stadium singing your song, it's the same as if you play a sport.
Gotta be
cheering for you when you score a touchdown. It's a feeling you can't reciprocate or describe, so that's something I'm chasing.
Or duplicate or imitate.
There you go.
I had to recover
bust a little rhyme.
You know what I'm saying? So, okay, so that is so. What's the specific moment when you was like, I'm finna write a song and I'm finna go record it? Was somebody like hearing you sing? Like you should sing. You should do it for. Was it you personally just in the crib and? I know you mentioned at being going to the shows, but what actually made me like, I'm finna get this notebook, I'm finna get a pen, I'm finna find a beat, like
You can ask my family. I was always singing around the house, and they would literally tell me, like, shut up, you're being loud and obnoxious. But, like, the only way to get better is to practice. But no, that's not the moment. I would say just, I obviously, a lot of people make music. I was around people who would book studio times, and I would be, like, sitting in there, drinking and having fun watching. And then I was like, why can't I be doing it? All comes back to just, I wouldn't say jealousy, but, like, I'm someone that likes to try new things. So if I'm seeing someone do it, I'm like, I want to try too. Like it's exciting. Like, let me get in the booth, But I would say what really started making me write and put together a song, because I promise you it is not as easy as it looks. It kind of started with, writing captions for pictures and like, oh, well, like, here's a quick little like 4-bar verse. Like, okay, well, like, let's add on to it. That would be a really catchy hook. Like, you know what I mean? And then I regret this actually a lot, is not starting sooner.
Same thing I say.
Everyone says this, but this goes for anything in life.
Every 6 hours.
You what?
I say it every 6 hours.
Oh, okay.
When I see some kid making $20 million off YouTube videos playing with toys.
It's not money driven for me, but
it's definitely money.
Whether it's a hobby, a chore, a goal, just start. That's the hardest part. And one thing I regret is the first time I went to the studio, I was scared. That's the whole reason I prolonged this process, because I was scared to go to the studio. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not ready. I don't know like if I'm going to even like this beat, and kind of just making excuses really. And I didn't go to the studio until my senior year of college. And like even after that, I dropped this song, I think like a month before I graduated. And I regret that, because with that, I missed out on a whole audience. Yes, people from my college still listen, I hope, or that I know of, you know what I mean? But a whole audience I missed out of. Probably missed a bunch of performance opportunities, collaboration opportunities, just exposure, really. And it's kind of sad, like, looking back, especially being in Florida, like, music videos, having all those people in one spot, like, it was so accessible, and I honestly fumbled the bag, and now I'm back living in Illinois, and everyone's working. It's harder to get people in one spot. It's cold right now. It's winter. No one wants to go outside. So it's harder to, especially with age, it's harder to get people to come together when you're trying to push something. So that's my only regret about not starting sooner. But did that answer your question? I went on a tangent.
You did perfect. That's what we're here for. That's exactly what we're here for. So now you're writing music and you're making music. What exactly was the only goal, only to tell yourself that you can do it, like I could do this too? Or was it like, now I want, I want to do projects, I want to drop singles? What was the motivation behind that?
The goals have adjusted. They've adjusted majorly, but
Can we talk about that?
Yes, we can.
That adjustment period? What was that like?
Oh my gosh, there's so much. I could talk for hours about it. But, like the first goal was like getting over my fear to record. Mark that off. Went to the studio. The next thing was like...
And that's how you got over it?
I just booked it and said, that's it.
So you went up in there like, all right, take it back. One more time.
Okay, no. I don't freestyle. That's one thing about me. I came up with just how I explained it, like verses and whatnot. And in the studio, you figure out your rhythm and process. That's another thing I got to talk about, is the studio process. That's something I wish people could watch. Like, everyone's different. There's people that go in there, young boy, bust out a song in a minute. There's other people that spend hours writing on paper, so there's people who come prepared and just, recite what they already wrote. There's people who come up with it on the spot. But so that was the first goal. I was like, book it, done. The next scary part was, oh crap, I have to drop this. People are gonna hear my voice, feel my feelings. So like that was the next goal, is like dropping and just getting that out the way, like opening your heart to everyone. Were you gonna say something?
Were you coming in the studio prepared already? Were you working with the engineer?
The engineer I knew from going to other people's sessions. I did go with someone I trusted, felt comfortable with. But even then I was still scared. I hadn't sang in front of him before. I was like, oh, he's gonna judge my voice. And like, I wouldn't say until like my third song is when I well, I work with different engineers now just because schedules, time, location. But until my third session, that was like the first time I felt fully comfortable. Like, I'm coming in here, I know what I got to get done, I know my time, I know what, okay, I struggle in this part, I need to work on this part. Intros are always so hard for me. Like, as soon as I get in the studio, I'm like, skip the intro, straight to the chorus. Like, I love choruses. I think it's the most important part of a song. I think it's just I don't know, it's just my favorite thing to work on, kind of. But goals. The goals they progress, and that's the thing, is with time and with practice, you know, you go from, okay, now I have a few songs out, let's do a show, or okay, I'm comfortable with myself, now I am comfortable, like I can invite someone to my session and I feel comfortable that they can add on to my work, or I can add on to their work. So a feature took a while for me. I was nervous about, you know, who to choose. And
so it was your song that you was looking for somebody to get on.
Wait, what?
It was your song that you was looking for somebody to get on?
I don't remember the exact order. I think the first feature I did, someone came on mine, which was the person that I like sat in studio time a lot with. But I have been on 1, 2, 3, 4-ish, I think 4 or 5 other people's tracks. But that's where it gets messy, you know, like, oh, whose song is it actually, and who's going to post it on their page. So it does get a little messy. You do have to work with people you trust, know, and just want to grow with. So I'm super happy with the features I've done so far. Yeah, the goals just keep going, you know. Then whatever, you book a show. Okay, now I want an out-of-state show. Did that. You know, so, and then same thing for even, you know, people who are already famous or whatever, or have a bunch of fans. Okay, now I want a sold out show. Now I want a world tour. Now I want to, you know, there's levels to this. So, okay, I have my song on the radio. Now I want to be the #1 hit. So it just keeps progressing and growing. And that's the beauty of it, is it's everlasting. It's never ending. It's even music. You can find inspiration anywhere from anyone. And it's just a beautiful cycle that I've grown to love and fell in my lap unexpectedly, and I'm super happy to say I'm an artist. I'm super proud to say I'm an artist. It's like my favorite thing in the world. So yeah.
Okay. So I got a lot of questions. So let's start here. So let's go back to the out of state show. Was that your first show? And if not, walk us through your first show. Was you prepared? Was you nervous? Was you in the back like Eminem on 8 Mile? Or was you ready to go? Talk to me about that experience.
My first show.
In the mirror practicing for 2 days.
My first show was at the Forge in Joliet, Illinois, which it's a big spot for.
Yeah. Paul Wall was just there not too long ago.
Yeah, it's a good music venue. See, that's where I've seen Dirk. That's where I've seen Herb. You know, it is motivating. There
instead of Indiana, just me personally.
Yeah, me too. But it's inspiring, you know, like even just being able to say, oh, I performed in the same building that Lil Durk has, like that's cool to me. So my first show ever, I did pay like $25 to perform, but
what?
I know it is what it is.
We're gonna talk about the investment
listen
part.
Money and art don't mix. I'm gonna leave it at that. But
we're gonna have a conversation.
I know we have so much to talk about, but you know, I don't mind if there's 50 people showing up. I don't mind paying $25. You know, that's the same as going out to eat. Might as well spend it on something that's going to help me grow. I sang 2 songs. At that time, I thought the songs were good. And now to me, they're like my worst songs. But no, it was fun. People told me I had a natural stage presence. I was still, you know, not fully dancing on stage because you're still holding a mic and whatnot. But no, I had a great time. I was nervous. I didn't practice at all. Didn't have a routine ready. And just got it out the way. And then I meant to count before I came here how many shows I've done. But I think we're right around 7 to 9 shows. I have to count. But, you know, we're still in the single digits. I've done 1 out-of-state show. Yeah, I have to think about it. But 1 out-of-state show, like 4 in Chicago, 2 in Joliet. I don't know. These are. I have to think back.
They have a lot of shows.
No, I haven't been to. My next goal, one of them, is to have a show in Milwaukee and then Indiana, just because Indiana's right there. Milwaukee's a great city. I love Milwaukee.
I got some family in Milwaukee. I don't know. I didn't know Milwaukee was in Illinois for a long time.
It's not in Illinois.
See, exactly.
It's in Wisconsin.
See,
it's
yeah,
okay. It's right there.
Scratch that out. See,
2 hours.
When we talk about, I don't edit, but I might edit that out.
No, you're not. It's like 2-ish hours away. It's a good city.
Is it a huge difference from Chicago? Because I know a lot of people go from back and forth.
Smaller and.
Well, I know Chicago's a big city, but I mean, just as far as like the feel.
I mean, I've only been a few times.
Okay.
I only saw like the nightlife once, but like I've gone to a Bucks game. I've gone to like the museum out there. I've gone to a Brewers game. I'm a sport person.
I noticed that. Like,
I love sports.
That. I love sports.
That's a whole nother story because we skipped over that.
I actually took a job at White Sox just so I can watch the games. I was like a cashier, hot dog dude.
Passion.
That shit was dope.
Passion takes you a lot of places.
I tried to get in United Center so bad they didn't call me.
I'm still trying, and shout out to all the sport teams that haven't hired me. But no, I was an athletic marketing intern in college and worked every basketball, baseball, softball, soccer game. We didn't have a football team at my college, but I haven't been able to find a job in the sport industry. And, you know, it is a little sad when you do care so much about something. And, like, I don't take it personal. I'm a woman. I'm 22. Like, I get why would you hire a woman when you can have someone who's played the game for 8 years plus,
and
10
lot
years.
Of it is,
right. So
it's who you know. A lot of it's who you know instead of what you know.
It is, sadly.
You know what I'm saying?
And I try not to take it to heart. But, you know, I think eventually I don't care if I have to start at the bottom. Once again, I like trying different industries. I've been in sales, I've been in finance, I've been in management, I've been in operations. So I just like jumping around, trying new things, education. You know what I mean? So sports, I'm going to get that job one day. Just wait. Just wait.
If you want it, you definitely going to get it. So, okay. So, yeah, you've done a lot in such a little time. And I don't want to do too much skipping around, but I think we're gonna set the music down for 1 second, and I just want to ask about the modeling. Did that coincide with you stepping out the box and doing the music as well, or was that something that you always had a passion for?
This is like a funny story, but at my high school, like when you're a senior, it was like a thing to get like senior portraits done, like, oh, you're about to graduate, like it's a milestone, you know. Whatever, people were paying for like $300 photo shoots from like a professional photographer, and like my family couldn't like afford that, and like I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I was going to community college, so like one of my old teammates was just like, hey, like I'll shoot for you, we can just like go to this like forest preserve, and I was like, okay, cool, like I appreciate it. And like they turned out so good. We both were shocked, honestly, I think. That's in the dope. Moment, and I still like thank her to this day. Her name's Abby, and like I tell her all the time, like, you literally jump-started my modeling career in my eyes, because that was, like, the first time I felt, like, fully confident. Like, not fully confident, but, like, that was, like, the first time, like, I was like, okay, like, there's something more here that I can keep building off of, and other people saw it too, you know? So that transpired into just, you know, people reaching out to me, like, wow, I love this photo you took. Like, can we do something like this? And they would send, like, a concept of, like, whatever, I can't even think of a concept right now, something with bubbles or something, like, I don't know if that was a bad example, but, and yeah, that's been running with that. And within the past year and a half, that transpired into runway modeling, which is actually, like, I love that. I really love.
Was that something you was always practicing, or was that something you had to learn? Because from what I understand, that's just, you just don't go on there and walk. Am I wrong?
Once again, that's something that just fell into my lap that I wasn't expecting. Because, you know, models are tall, they're skinny, like, but the modeling industry has changed, you know?
The models that, you know.
Right, like, Victoria's Secret models, like, that was always a thing. Like, you're just tall, skinny, and that's it, you know? So, even in health class, like, in high school, I remember them saying, like, eating disorders, like, whatever. They just, like, called out models who were tall and skinny, and, like, I was like, I don't know, like, short and stubby, but same thing, just like kind of fell in my lap. Had a few opportunities. I'm walking in a show next weekend I'm super excited for a model I hold close to my heart. The brand's called Exclusive Habit. She went to my high school, Desiree, and this is my
Habits?
Exclusive.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Okay.
But no, like she's given me 2 opportunities, and like to me, anyone who gives me an opportunity, I always try to repay in some way, shape, or form. Like I always let my appreciation be shown. Like I will forever thank you in some way, like even if it's in the future, I don't care. But I'm super excited for that. And as for the walking, it is like a learned skill, but I also think some of it is just having it. Like you have to just, some people have it, some people don't. If you can't strut, if you can't, like I always just was able to walk in heels. Like sometimes I feel like I could when I was like 4, but you just have to, some people have it, some people don't. You go to a different headspace, the same as a performance, the same as a whatever. Let's say it's just a performance. You're putting on a show. Same thing as anything in life. A sports performance, a music performance.
I mean, you make it sound easy, but you're kind of walking into my next question.
It's
is
hard.
with you having 8 or 9 shows under your belt and then walking in front of people doing modeling, was it always easy to be in front of these big crowds? And I know that you speak on doing a car salesman, you getting to interact with people every day, but that's different. That's
different.
1 per 2, maybe
Right.
3 people at a time. But now you got hundreds of people looking at you at one time. Is that something that you have to work on? Or is that always easy for you to do? Because one person be looking at me like,
Right. I would say even since middle school, I would say in middle school I was like not the class clown, but like I was just goofy, like not like being the center of attention, but like I just like being in the mix, you know, like I wanted to be around whoever was, you know, causing commotion or whatever. But no, cheer, like I said, cheer and track really shaped me so much. Cheer, you're performing in front of a crowd of, honestly, I think I've performed in front of thousands before, like at state and stuff. Like it is a big crowd. You're surrounded from the front and the sides. And then even behind you, there's judges. So you kind of have to block out everything happening around you, and get in that zone. And I think that's the same for any sports. People are like, how does Curry perform under pressure? And this is a skill. It's practice. It's being used to that habitat and adapting to what's going on around you. So same thing with runway walking. You know, every model's different. Some people look straight forward and don't lose gaze of, you know, where they're walking, and some people kind of like use their eyes to advantage and like, I wouldn't say like scope the room, but walk with their eyes. So like, I don't know, I've always loved public speaking. So let me backtrack a little bit.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, I go so off topic, but
that's a big thing, public speaking.
Public speaking is really my passion. Like
I was
that
not expecting
teaching
that.
is a form of that, you know, you're
Exactly.
preaching to a
True.
group of 30 kids. It's something about commanding the room that I love. Like I don't know how to explain it really, but when I lost my train of thought. Oh, public speaking. I'm going off topic, but whatever.
I need to hear this because
this is a good story.
I shrink in big rooms.
It's definitely a practice. Like I remember in middle school, like science fair, hated speaking. I was so nervous. What I learned is you have to be confident in what you're talking about. Same thing with music. If you're not confident about what you're presenting and singing, of course you're gonna be nervous, jittery. Obviously nerves are good, but the first time I was like, wow, like I can hold the crowd is actually my senior, was it junior or senior? It might have been junior year of college. I had a speech class, and we only had like 3 speeches that year because then COVID happened, whatever. It was like the last speech of the year. It was like, I think it was an informative speech, and I chose like to do my topic on adoption. And whatever, everyone has a different format, how they start, how they end, what they include. I had people crying, and like the amount we had like a little sheet giving feedback, positives, pros and cons of your presentation, and they were I can never say it,
Anonymous?
Yep.
Okay.
I can never say it.
Nah, because I suck at shit like that. I'm glad I was able to help you out right there.
But it was that word, and like the feedback was it was really life-changing, because I was like, wow, like I was able to captivate the crowd and actually make them feel something. And that was like another turning point for me, where I was like, words are so powerful. And like everything relates back to music in a way. And even with modeling, it relates back to music. You're putting on a show, you're wearing your outfit, fashion, you're presenting everything. Everything's connected. And that speech really had me, contemplating even my career choices, like what I wanted to apply for jobs after college. Like I knew I needed to be in the public eye. I just had to figure out where, and that's something I'm still kind of struggling with. Is yes, social media presence is important, which I'm like in the midst of right now because I honestly hate social media. But if you have the voice for it or the content for it, everyone's do it, da da da, make money off this, da da da. And it's just, I'm honestly the complete opposite. It's like I just post what I want and I go. Like I don't care who likes it, I don't care how many likes I get. I just like sharing what I've learned, and hopefully it helps someone else. And that's what it comes down to. So that was a whole lot. I just went on 5 different tangents, but
she answered like 3 of my questions before I even got a chance to ask them. But I'm gonna still ask one of them anyway. You touched on a little bit about the connectivity between music and modeling. If you could expand on that a little bit more, is that something that you consciously incorporate together, like especially when doing visuals? Like I'm finna, basically do your own wardrobe,
right.
do your own. I'm finna walk like this. I'm finna walk in like that. I'm finna dance like that.
Just to be clear, I'm my own stylist, my own manager, my own choreographer, my own writer. I really do everything alone other than the video shoots, obviously photo shoots, and then engineers and producers. Other than that, like finding the shows, figuring out what I'm going to wear, what like transportation, like all that is me. So like it is a lot of work. What was the question?
I was the incorporation of modeling.
Yeah,
and music.
Like I said, everything does go hand in hand. So it is nice because, like, we're doing a photo shoot, or let's say we're doing a photo shoot. Someone asked me to shoot. Okay, well, sometimes I like propose the idea, like, hey, do you mind if I use this for cover art? Like, I really love what you did here. I've been saving a photo shoot from last summer for this upcoming summer because I'm like, I want to use it specifically for this song. And he's like, yeah, just wait. Like, just wait. Whenever you're ready to post it. Obviously, I tag all my photographers, but he's like, let me know when you're going to drop it. And we're, full speed ahead. So, yes, everything goes hand in hand. Modeling, same thing with music video shoots. In a sense, you're getting content. And one thing I do, dance choreo, I've done only like 3 or 4. But in my next music video, I do want to incorporate that. But it's a lot of work, man. Like, people don't get it. Even just going to a dance studio or the gym or whatever and like planning it out takes minimum like 3 days, depending on how much time you have. Then the actual shooting, like, it's just, everything takes time. And, I used to like judge artists like, oh my God, they took 3 years to drop. I get why now. Like, it's a lot of preparation. It's a lot of, okay, this person's in Atlanta, this person's in Cali, I have to wait till I go there to see them again. I have to collaborate with this person. I'm waiting on this music video that I never got back.
It might be a Christmas song. It's the middle of June.
Right. I have a teaser. I have a country song that, like, I'm not going to drop that in the winter. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just a lot of waiting and, knowing when the time's right, feeling good about what you're putting out, because I think that's what I rushed in the beginning. Is I was putting out tracks that like the mix didn't even sound good, or like I could have re-sang a part, my voice cracked, like just small stuff like that where
like you said, you just gotta do it. You just
gotta learn and do it and grow. And honestly, I'm glad I did start learning that and doing that, because now I can listen to that first track and be like, I hear the growth. Like, wow, like you didn't even say one ad lib here. Over here, you're harmonizing. Like, that's a huge difference to go from, I won't say monotone because I never sound monotone in my opinion, but from going from, just one take or whatever to trying 4 times and hitting it exactly how you want goes a long way. Like, but that comes back to studio time and it costing money and you're on a time crunch. So that's why, it goes back to, as you look at the clock, because we're running out of time.
No, good.
I'm just kidding. But
Apple Watch always talking about time to stand up and shit. Man, your business, man.
They want me to stand up?
It's my off day.
No, I'm just kidding. But time, money, passion, they just all go hand in hand. And it's hard because I think I'm always like two people in everything in life. Like I suck at making decisions. I'm always like there really is a devil and an angel on my shoulder, because at one end I'm like, okay, I see why this is important. I should do that. And the other hand's like, what are you talking about? Like, this is what you need to do. This is what is right. Like, so it's hard to go back and forth. And I think the biggest thing, at least in 2022, that I came to realize is, you know, people say all the time, like, you get what you pay for. And I was like, okay, I get that. And then I would do that. And I'm like, I didn't get what I paid for. I didn't get anything at all. This person finessed me. This went wrong. Or this feature didn't want to put it out. I wasted studio time. You know what I mean? So it's like, you have to really juggle the balls. And once again, find the people you want to work with. Find the people that are trustworthy. Make sure at the end of the day, whether you're paying for a gig or paying for a collaboration, just make sure you guys are on the same page. Make sure there's a written contract or some sort of agreement in place. Because the worst thing that happens is when you put your time, effort, soul into something and then it never gets put out to the world. Like, I don't know, that's kind of hurtful to me. Obviously, not all work is meant to be put out. Some of it, I have songs that will never be put out, but like they were meaningful to me. And like,
ever.
maybe if I re-sang them,
Right, you know what I'm saying? It might be a hit back there somewhere.
It really is. There's just so much gray area in any industry. Any industry is. And I'm glad that those things are happening now when I'm still, you know, unestablished. I'm still learning. Because guess what? All that is leading me to the right path, to the people I need to be meeting. Like this podcast, for example. Like there's just, thank you for having me. I haven't said it yet. I meant to say it when we started, but
it's a pleasure and an honor to have you here.
You can tell when passion's in play, and when it's not, automatically I just lose drive. I don't want to be there. I feel like I'm wasting my time, because at the end of the day, I don't care how much money I spend, it comes down to time. Time is the most valuable to me. Like, I came here straight after work. I was like, I need to be on time. I want to do this. I'm excited.
Appreciate that.
Grab some drinks on the way. You know, so you need to feel excited about the things you're doing, because that
leaves a great impression. You
I'm
know
glad.
And
I'm glad, because that's what keeps the ball rolling. I hope this, you know, helps Mo's next podcast. And now he's excited to find the next artist, even though he has a whole lineup of 10 other artists, 15. Yeah. He's ready. He's prepared, organized. So I love it. I'm happy to be here. The convo's been great. I forget the camera's even here. Yeah. I need a refill.
Yeah, that's what I said. We need to let's talk about what you got going on for my camera overheats. So right now,
before what?
The camera overheats. It's giving me So what's going on right now with Lilian as far as the music? Like, what somebody who's just finding out about you right now in this interview and this conversation, what can they expect when they check your music out?
Same thing. I should have counted how many songs I have, but I didn't. But
you know, is it over 300, under 300?
No, 300 songs? Hell no.
All together, because you got some in the vault with you.
Not that many.
Okay.
But I would say what's out so far is a few singles. I have one EP out. I'm waiting on that album. That debut album definitely is going to be special. I think I don't want to do it this year. I think I want to wait till I grow myself and just learn more about music myself. But what's to come? I hope collaborations. I have a few singles lined up. The mind's always rolling, and I did make a big investment and got some home studio equipment. So I would say that's the next big thing for me. Is
great.
It is, and you know what? Everyone says it. You need to invest in this, because the growth is going to happen at home when you're alone, when you're singing by yourself, no one else is around. I think my vocals are going to change drastically.
And you can create whenever you want.
Whenever you want.
Schedule.
However you want. I know when I want to cut in and cut out. I can explore. Oh, I don't like this beat. Scrap it. I'm not on a time crunch. The only thing I'm worried about is, you know, not to speak it into existence, but I know there's going to be a drop of quality for a minute. Mm-hmm. But even if it's just to practice, even if it's just, okay, I came up with a song, now I'm just going to go record it out of the studio. It's going to take 20 minutes, harmonize, boom, done. So even that, coming more prepared to the studio and just working, you know, with my life, it's so hard for me to sit down and just get to work. Like, I know people who are like, oh yeah, I booked studio time in 2 months. I'm like, I cannot do that. I'm a spur of the moment. Hey, do you have studio time tonight? And like, no one ever, you know, can do that for me, kind of. And it's sad, but that's how I live my life. Like, whatever comes up in that day is what I do, and I live my life day by day, and you don't know what'll happen tomorrow. And so having my own home equipment is going to be an interesting journey. What else can you expect? More shows. I think that's one of the number one ways to expand, is people seeing you live, enjoy your art, and expressing it. I personally, shows are like one of the scariest things for me. Not scariest, but I would say I honestly hate music videos more, because to me, music videos, there's just so much that can go right, go wrong. You have to rely on other people showing up. You have to rely on, okay, you have to understand. Like, I'm someone who, I like to be aware of everything going on. Like, and you kind of have to accept, like, okay, I can't be the director, the photographer, the singer, and the director all at once. So it's kind of something where I just spit, where you have to learn to just like take a step back and like trust other people. And like, that's the hardest part, because your art is at stake. Your art's at stake. You're spending money on this, and like, but shows, I love shows. It's super fun. My family has yet to come to one, so I'm hoping this year they do. I don't know. It's just an experience. Like, you know, it is scary. You know, sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't want to twerk, blah, blah, buzz there. Or like, but it's a part of the show, and I'm just having fun. I'm expressing my art. Okay. And yeah, it's
your family haven't come to a show. How do they listen to the music?
So I actually I did not tell them I made music, but it did take me a while to be like,
I didn't tell them. I just didn't tell them.
Right. Because it is scary, you know, like, these are people who know your whole life. They're going to be like, why would you share that? That's like personal. And like, to me, it's like, I needed to let it out. So like, it was scary at first, like them hearing. I remember my dad was like the last one who found out. And I was just like, because, you know, sometimes songs are sexual, or like you are opening up about relationships, and it's like things they haven't heard yet. So it's like, that happened to you? And it's like, yeah, it did, but like, I wanted people to know, you know what I mean? So it's stuff like that. I don't know, it's scary. That's probably like the scariest part for me, is like, any real music listener, you're listening to the lyrics, and if you're not, you need to start listening to lyrics. Like, anytime I listen to new music on Apple Music, first thing I do is pull up the lyrics and like read along with it, because you learn so much more. Like, sometimes it skips over your head, and like, oh, I didn't hear that. Say that again. Or you thought
they were saying one thing for 10 years and found out they were saying the whole. So like,
there's a lot that goes into that, and I don't know. My little sister's been in one of my music videos. She's helped shoot one of my music videos. We recorded one ourselves. So like, the support is there. My mom said she's wanted to come to the show, but you know, sometimes it's in the city. They don't want to drive an hour, and like, it's a younger crowd. Like, there's no business in my little brothers being there. You know what I mean? So until I find that right venue.
Don't worry about it.
I find, I'm over here drunk.
Act like it didn't happen.
Until I find that venue where it's like, I feel like this is like a great outing and everything connects. This comes back to me wanting to have a more community role in my life. Like, I've volunteered and I've gone to various events and whatnot. I really want to take on a larger community role, not for the reasons I feel like people expect, but once again, I have younger siblings, I have older siblings, like, I just feel like I can understand people of all ages and bring them together. And that's what it's about at the end of the day, is connecting people. That I think the world runs on connection and empathy, and those are like my two strong suits. So I want to eventually, maybe not this year, but next year, in some way, shape, or form, get some sort of event going. I don't know exactly what, if it's an all day, a 2-hour thing, if it's a outside event, inside, like, I haven't thought it out yet. I just know I want to do something big and just have people have a good time, you know, whether it's, I don't know. I haven't really thought that far. I'm over here just expressing my thoughts.
It sounds like an awesome combination. So,
that's how you know I've been talking too much. That your voice getting.
There's a lot of other factors in that. But all right. So before you go, you mentioned a few times not being about not being motivated by money. So what's the ultimate goal when you sit back and be like, yeah, I did what I wanted to do? What is it gonna look like? What's the ultimate goal?
It's so hard because, you know, people see my social media and they're like, oh, she probably got paid for that gig, and oh, I bet she's making money off of that. And truthfully, I've been modeling for 4 years. I've been doing music for 2. In that whole time span, I've made money off of 1 music video and Instagram Reels. That is it. I'm not afraid to admit it. I have not been paid for features. I've not been paid for modeling gigs. And like, sometimes it is sad, you know, to reflect and be like, I could be charging. I could be, you know, making a boatload off of this or da-da-da-da. But like, at the end of the day, that's not what it's about for me. I think at this point in my life, I have hustled so hard that like, I am comfortable. Of course, more money's great for everyone. Everyone wants more money. But I don't want to charge people or lose out on relationships at that risk. I would rather have someone who comes back, they're excited to work with me, and it just feel natural, and we're doing this because we love it, rather than, oh, we were only here for 2 hours and she only finished 1 verse and we didn't get this done. Or it shouldn't feel like that. It should feel we're here because we love it. However it comes out is how it comes out. Obviously I do pay people for their time, so that's like the other downside is I feel like I'm investing in other people but no one's investing in me. So it is kind of like a bittersweet feeling. Like, you know, I've already mentioned it earlier. I've been finessed. I've paid for music videos, not gotten them back. I've done photo shoots. The SIM card goes blank. That doesn't happen, you know.
It does happen. It's happening. I'm talking about I had like 2 interviews and 2 in the booths on a memory card, and I was doing some stuff. I went to go look for it, and it was just blank. I had to tell the people like, man.
Okay, but I'm not even gonna bring it up. But
the finesse in the video, that's bogus. Like, I would have put his ass on blast on Instagram. Like, hey, walk out the box. Dude took my money. If it don't work with him, he is unsafe. I'm just doing this it don't happen to me again.
Well, and, you know, that's where it crosses my morals again, because I'm like, there's no point in even wasting my breath. His karma will come. You know, I don't even want to mention it really, but like, it does hurt because it's something you care about so much, and
you put your work,
I wasted gas, time, energy, outfit, money. Like, it is sad, but it's a new year. Their karma will come.
And then they messing it up for themselves. Like, you
and it's crazy because
you're on a rise. You the type of person you would want to be connected to as a cameraman. Personally, I would want you to call me every time you're doing something, just to be attached to it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And this goes back to people not understanding relationships always outweigh the money. Like, whether you give someone an opportunity once, guess what? They're going to repay you 3 times and giving you 3 other opportunities that are 10 times greater. So I don't know. I feel like people fail to understand that. And a lot of people are, you know, are stingy and are like, oh, I'm not doing it unless I'm getting paid. Well, guess what? Not everyone gets paid at the start. You think Drake, Justin Bieber, when he was singing on the streets.
Drake was putting music out on Facebook, on MySpace, right. Or something
Everyone
like that.
did it for free at one point. That's what it is.
It's the grind,
That's
the hustle.
what it is. And if you can't understand that or sacrifice that, maybe it's not for you, you know? And I've paid people early. I've paid people in full. I've paid people... like I said, it's hard. It's a hard thing to wager, but at the end of the day, this is something I care about. This is something I'm trying to push. So, like I said, I hope those mistakes happen now. Down the line, I'm more cautious. They're never going to work with me again. That's what it is. I don't care if they've worked with someone famous. I don't care if that's who's all over their page. They just missed out on someone in their own city who we don't know where they're going to go, what they're going to do. It might not even be music related, but what happens when they need a videographer in 2 years and it's a big event? You're the first person they think of, and I forgot what happened, you know? Mm-hmm. So, but that's enough about that. we don't mean to end on a sad note.
No, it's definitely not a sad note because, like I said, it's at the end of the day, it's their loss. You know what I'm saying? Because just from the short time that I've known you, I can tell that you're really working and investing in what you're doing. So it's only gonna get greater and greater. And whoever get left, sometimes stuff like that happen for a reason as well. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's not the right time, or it's not meant for that person to be attached to you for whatever reason.
It isn't, and it's good to clear those people out the way. And like I said, you learn, you're more prepared for the next time. Okay, next time I'm going to have a written agreement. Next time I'm going to have people with me, or whatever the case may be, whatever went wrong that day. But yeah, so you care if I go into these 3 tips for the upcoming artists?
Go ahead. Sure. The floor is yours.
Some tips for upcoming artists, honestly, any creative, whether you're a photographer, videographer, artist, painter, I don't even know what else there is. Person, sewer, business, entrepreneur, fashion designer. The first tip, well, I guess this one's actually more for music, but the first tip is use your voice as an instrument. A lot of the times I hear people on a beat and they'll sound monotone. The goal is to sound like 3 different people on one track, and people be like, who was that feature? Oh, that's the same artist? Their voice switched like that? That's what you want. I think that's the coolest part, is when I make music, is I try to add on and envision myself as like, oh, I didn't hear a guitar in the song. Let me like try to harmonize and like, not sound like a guitar, but like, what would it be strummed like, So that's the tip for not sounding monotone, because that's how you create your different sounds. I gotta look up my other, I was writing this on my way here, but I already told you guys about just start whatever your passion, your goal is, just start it. That's all that matters. Progression, it'll happen along the way. Like I said, I've been doing music 2 years. It feels like I've been doing it for 10. Like, there's no time frame, there's no time limit. You can create as you please, as you go. I only dropped maybe I think this year I dropped 3 singles and 1 EP, so it was a big year for me. But Youngboy, for example, drops 4 EPs in a year, so you can't really gauge it. Then you have people like Frank Ocean, drops 1 song every 3 years. There's really no time frame on it. Another tip I have is just find good people around you. Really, you can't do anything alone, and I know it's cliche, but without support, it is hard to get back up and do it again. Or, oh, I only got 10 likes. Well, as long as 2 of those 10 people are cheering you on, keep going. Actually, I don't care if 0 people cheer me on. If I'm letting my feelings out and I love the way it sounds, I'm going to keep dropping music. I don't care if 1 person sees it. So just keep going, really. This one's more for music, but don't worry about rhyming. This was so hard for me to understand. I remember people would always try to get me to freestyle, and I was like, I can't do it. I can't think of rhymes on the spot. And now when I freestyle, I sing freestyle. And what I learned is with singing and expanding out notes, it doesn't matter if you're rhyming, because the way your vocals are sounding and the letter or vowel you're going for sounds similar, and it just flows, especially with the beat. Finding those pockets and really capitalizing on those. You don't want to sing along with the beat. You kind of want to go against it. I don't know how to explain that. I guess that goes back to the first one of sounding like an instrument. But yeah, those are probably my tips. I know everyone says grow your social media and do TikTok trends and stuff like that, but to me, that's a whole nother beast. You can be an artist like Ice Spice and blow up overnight. Are you going to have the same depth and passion that SZA does, where she has a 21 song album? No, it's different. Music is different. People make music for different reasons. That's another thing I meant to talk about, is I've learned just make whatever's on your mind. There's songs where I've performed one of my songs and I'm like, yeah, I'm never performing this again. This is not a song you sing at a performance. Then there's songs where you're driving and you're like, yeah, this hits at night, so making music with a purpose and having reasoning behind action. So always do stuff with a purpose. And yeah, I think that's my third tip. I might have said 4.
Man, I have to say, you the first guest that actually brought like tips for the viewers and me as well. So I definitely appreciate that.
I'm glad.
Takes a lot of consideration. I appreciate that as well. You know what I'm saying? Coming to the show.
It's important because what do people want to learn from a podcast? You know, you got to take away the key points, and obviously it's great to hear about my life, but you know, what can you gain from me? I think we live in a society where it's like, what can I grab from this person? What's this person going to contribute to my life? Oh, they're going to get me views from this post. And just take the knowledge, take it as it comes, take it from the experiences, you know, whether good or bad. I've had good and great experiences, and then you've had the not so good ones. So, you know, whatever the lessons they are, take them as they come and use them to your advantage. You know, it sounds bad. Take them to your advantage and keep good people around, throw away the bad ones, and keep working. So.
And before we go, real quick, I'm sorry. This is a question I ask every female artist come through here. What is it like? I hope the camera will go off on me, but what is it like being a female in a male-dominated industry? Not just with the male rappers, but the male engineers and producers and studio owners. Is that something that you have to dealt with, or what has your experience been?
It definitely has been worse in the modeling industry. Obviously people are predatory. That's what it is. People use your passion as bait, and it's sad. You know, no woman or man should be put in that position. If they're not comfortable, they should not be forced to do anything or feel like they need to leave or get out or whatever. But for music wise, I would say it's been fun. You know, I have so many male artists that are like, a female vocals would sound so good on this. So it's so nice being able to bring something to the table. Like, oh, I'm mainly rap. Like, you being able to sing on this would just work perfect together. So it's nice in that aspect. But, you know, there is the bad side of it, of people saying like, oh, come record. I go to the home studio and there's, you know, the equipment's there. It's not on. Why did I come over, you know? So it's sad. You know, there is a lot of like falsification, and other than that, like I said, the modeling industry's been worse. We're not going to get into it. I'm sure everyone hears the stories about photographers, not to discredit them.
Maybe a different episode.
There's great people out there, and that's why I said find the good ones, make sure they're credible. If you're not sure about an engineer, if you're scared to have a session alone with someone, reach out to someone who has recorded with them. Hey, how was it with them? Like, yeah, their post might have 10,000 views. That doesn't mean it was a good session. That means the person had good work. So that's one thing I need to learn too, and I'm preaching to myself right now, is taking people's word, you know, trusting them. Because, you know, a lot of times people are like, well, they wouldn't do that to me. They would. They're going to do it to you. So that's something I'm learning and dealing with as well. But, you know, I'm someone who gives the benefit of the doubt. Until you give me a reason not to trust you, to like you, to work with you, you know, I'm going to give you the chance. So
let you hang yourself. You hear that?
Right.
Hang you the rope. You choose what to do with it.
But no, I do appreciate everyone I've worked with, from engineers, producers, videographers, photographers, hosts, venue, management, just everything. Everyone's added to me in some way, shape, or form. I feel like I'm 1,000 pieces from 1,000 different people, and it's a great feeling because no one can say, you know, I'm responsible for that. You're not. You know, I did this.
No team, just you, except for the
no
producers
team.
And engineers. So
right.
It's just you.
And I never really worked with the same people.
You're doing a great job.
I never worked with the same people, just because I do like to give people a chance. And oh, this person works different than this person, and I'm just blabbering now. But I am appreciative for everyone I've worked with. And yeah. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to keep growing. It's a new year. I'm happy to start this podcast off. This really set the tone for my year. I'm happy to express my feelings and goals. So I was excited about this. Even towards the end of the weeks of December, I was like, first interview lined up of the year. You know, it's motivating, and that's what keeps me going, is looking forward. So
awesome to be a part of that. And I'm glad the camera ain't cut off on, so I ain't gonna do you no more. I ain't gonna stress you out no more. Go ahead, tell the people where they can follow you on social, where they can find the music, where they can connect with you to work, where they could just be a fan. Let them know all that.
First of all, if you're not subscribed, 290 Moe Podcast. Like, if you're not following, you need to, because, like I said, great combo, great questions, professional environment, and that goes such a long way in my books. So, as for me, you can find me on all platforms. My artist name is Lilian. That's my real name. Instagram, Lilian Bauer 3. All the good usernames were taken. YouTube, same thing. Everything's in a link tree. You know, everything's connected in life.
For
So,
sure.
You know where to find me. And if you want to work, let me know. I'm always with the shits.
I like that. Man.
But, yeah, 290 Moe Podcast.
Hey, dope conversation. Appreciate you coming through. Keep working. Can't wait to have you back. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that modeling can be a whole nother conversation. That sounds like a whole nother beast. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely love that we was able to connect. Have a safe rest of your day, safe drive, and all that.
Lilian.